Hello, my friend. It is Adrian. Happy Friday. It's great to see you. And I want to talk for a few minutes about this analogy that I was thinking about this morning about what it means to build a network that has really just been like a couple things clicked into place for me today. So I was thinking this morning about this idea that I really endeavor to be like super consistent in everything that I do. And yet the reality is that that is not what happens all the time. And, I think I'm okay with that. And the reason why I think I'm okay with that, and my new phrase that I coined this morning in thinking about it, is that I am consistently inconsistent. And what I mean by that is that I'm not perfect. And I know I'm not perfect. And yet I climb back on the horse. And so that is consistently inconsistent. I get back on the horse. I don't stay down for too long. I don't let myself get totally beat up and yelling at myself or saying negative things to myself or about myself. I am learning to be graceful with myself and to climb back on the horse and to keep moving. And so then I started thinking about that concept because I think that that's an important thing to do. And I started thinking about this idea of building relationships and building networks. And I like to say I'm a reformed finance guy. I worked in my entire career before starting contact mapping in the world of finance. And so I love the concepts of finance. And, I love this power of compounding. Albert Einstein supposedly said this. I don't know if he really did or not, but it's a heck of a quote that the most powerful force in the universe is the power of compound interest. And it's true because it's the power of creating exponential returns. And so what I want you to think about is how your behaviors show up in each of these three categories of how you might think about your network or any given conversation or relationship or opportunity. What do you use as your framework, or what does your behavior suggest that you use as your framework in the way that you think about your network? So the three concepts, the three different ways that you could think about your network in my mind are: you could view your network or view each individual relationship like a lottery ticket. That's one. You could view your network and your relationships like a bank account. That's number two. Or number three, you could look at your relationships in your network like an investment account, like an account where you're buying stocks and investments that have risk and have return. So let's talk about each one of those. So lottery ticket, right? I think that so much of the behavior that I see in the way people show up, whether they realize it or not, whether you realize it or not, you are treating relationships like a lottery ticket. So what does that mean? You show up to that conversation and it's like this call option, right? It's this like 1 in a million chance, whatever. I'm hoping that that you're going to want to buy. I'm hoping that I'm going to get lucky and that I'm just going to keep throwing these little individual things out there. And I'm going to hope that one of them sticks and that I have this big breakthrough and that something amazing happens. And like a lottery ticket, if it doesn't work out, what do? Essentially, I rip up that lottery ticket and I throw it in the trash can. And you don't think you're doing that, but what do, right? You show up to a conversation, you assess what's in it for you, not for the other person. You figure out if you think that person's going to buy. You figure out if you think that person can help you get what you want. And if you don't think that they're going to help you, or if they're not ready to buy or whatever, you move on and you never follow up with them again. And you look like a jerk because they are not stupid and they can figure out that really all you were trying to do is you showed up, said, what's in it for me? Oh, I guess nothing. And essentially discarded that person and kept moving. So that's the lottery ticket analogy. And it seems so obvious not to do it when you think about it that way. But I would guess if you took a really hard look in the mirror that there are at least a set of scenarios in your life where you're showing up like that. So that's number one. Number two is a bank account. So bank accounts are great, right? Bank accounts, they store value. I've heard this analogy used a lot. Relationships are like a bank account. You got to make deposits in that bank account before you can pull things out. And that's not bad. That's a good thing. But I don't know about you. I don't get super excited about my bank account when it comes to creating amazing future returns for me, right? I feel like my bank account is a great thing, but it's a store of value. And at least in most places in the world that I'm aware of, if you are not, you're not getting major interest paid on that bank account, it's just a store of value. And so you can put money in and then you can take money out. And that's great. That's that's not a bad way to think about relationships, but it actually is kind of transactional when you really stop and think about it. So it's like, at least now I'm out of the just what's in it for me mentality, but now I'm really just into the mentality of like, hey, I'm going to do something for you, and I'm just going to wait until it's time for me to ask you to do something for me. So not bad, but not great, and not that exciting, and not life-changing in my opinion. So then there's investments accounts. There's this idea of the universal power of compound interest. So when you make investments into an investment account, a stock portfolio, something like that, it's not just a store of value. It's something that you're doing because over time, at least in the long run, you are expecting there to be a major return above and beyond just the money that you put into that account. And not only that, but there's also risk, right? So when I buy a stock today, it could go up a ton tomorrow. It could also go down a ton tomorrow. And that's kind of like a relationship, right? When I invest, when I put something out, effort, energy, myself, when I put something out there, plenty of people are going to disappoint you. They're going to let you down. They're going to show up like the lottery ticket kind of person, and you're not going to get anything back. And that's just part of the game. That's just part of life. That's just part of dealing with messy human beings. It has nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with them, but it's just going to happen. But sometimes when you put some money in a stock, the next day, like totally unbeknownst to you, the company gets acquired, or they announce like the greatest results ever, or they do something and the stock is like, psh, and it goes off to the races. And you couldn't have predicted that either. But man, are you glad that you put some money in there? And most of the time, it's not either one of those things that happen. Most of the time, what happens is that you put something in and you put something in and you put something in, and it feels like not a whole lot is happening on any one given day at a portfolio level, at a total network level. But all of a sudden you look back, and because of that power of compound interest, because of that power of compounding in your relationships, you look back and you go, wow, if I had just put this in a bank account instead of in an investment portfolio, I would be nowhere near where I am right now. And that is the power of viewing your network like an investment portfolio. That is the power of investing instead of just putting money away in a place where your money is not going to work for you. And so that's really powerful. But how does that relate to where I started with this idea of consistently inconsistent? The reason that that matters is that, yes, if you look at all the studies, the best thing you could do is for you to put a little bit of money away into an investment account every month in, month out, forever and ever and ever and ever. And, if you started doing that when you were 20 and you put in $25 a month, you'll be a millionaire or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are, but that's the best. But here's what's great. Even if you don't do that, what still happens is if I put some money in last month and then this month I didn't put some money in, but in 6 months I put some more in, it's not like that $25 that I put in 6 months ago is invalidated. It may have, I lost out on some things that could have happened had I been investing consistently throughout, but it didn't go away. I'm not starting from scratch just because I did that. That compounding impact is still happening even during the times that I'm not taking action, because the reality is that we're all going to fall off the horse. Everybody gets busy. Everybody has stuff that happens for them. And that's okay, because what will end up coming out of that on the other end of the spectrum is that when you follow up with that person, when you climb back on the horse, when you get back in the game, they're not going to be mad at you. They're going to be happy that you called. They're going to be happy even if you called, 3 months later than you said you were going to, as long as you're authentic and you say, gosh, man, I'm sorry. I dropped the ball. I got busy, but I've been thinking about you. What's going on? How you doing? And so the beauty of an investment account is that you can climb back on the horse, and good things will have happened while you were gone. Stuff will have happened while you were gone, and you haven't lost it all. And so I love thinking about a network in that way, because it works for you even when you're not working, but it works the best when you are. It works the best when you are continuing to put things in there. And that's true of our networks. And so I hope you got value out of that. I would love for you in the comments just to let me know, where do you see yourself in each of those analogies? Where do you see yourself showing up like a lottery ticket person? Where do you see yourself showing up more like a bank account person? Where do you see yourself showing up in that investment account sort of way? And I just would love to hear your thoughts on that. But here's the last thing I want to invite you to check out. So on Monday, we have an incredible person coming to share with us. His name's Paul Blanchard. And what I love the most about him is his heart. But this guy is incredibly impressive and brilliant. And so much so, he was basically the guy, he was like Jack Welch's from GE. He worked side by side with Jack Welch to build the Jack Welch University years ago and helped him to distill all of the wisdom that had him to be so successful at GE and carry that forward to the next generation. He is now the president of a company called Habit Finder that is connected to Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. And they have created this thing called an Unpersonality Assessment. And it is the most shockingly cool, interesting, like nothing I've ever seen personality profile I've ever seen in my life. And he is going to come and speak about that on Monday. And you actually, through contact mapping, you got the chance to take it for free. And so what I want to invite you to do is, number one, to go and take this personality profile. I'm going to put the link up here in a second so you can see it. I want to invite you to go take this. You'll get your results right away. And I think you will really enjoy taking it. It only takes 10 minutes. And I want you to go and check that out. I want you to do it right now so you can come join us on Monday and hear from Paul, because he's going to unpack what is inside of this thing in a deeper way. And what they're helping us to do is to get underneath the skin of what are the things that really stop us from living in that world of thinking about life like an investment account, and what keeps us more in this lottery ticket kind of mentality. And so it's going to be amazing. I want you to be there. This is something that we usually only make available to our premium members, but this is so exciting and special that I decided to open it up to the public. So go to contactmapping.com/HF. The link's up there on the screen, and come join us. I think it's going to be amazing. I really want you to come and reap the benefits for yourself of what you'll have the chance to learn from Paul. And so I hope to see you there, and make sure you go take that right away. We'll get you the link over the weekend so you can join us. There'll be 2 sessions on Monday, one at noon Eastern and one at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't make it live, we'll get you a replay as well. So thank you. I hope to see you on Monday. And my last request is, if you got value out of this, please share it for me. I would be so grateful for that. So contactmapping.com/HF, tap that share button if you would. And I hope to see you in the training on Monday with Paul Blanchard. You're going to love it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.